All right, Rob, to be on the Palouse right now feels like you're at the center of the college basketball world for the 299th meeting of the Apple Cup. The Washington State Cougars, ranked 18th in the nation, hosting their bitter rivals from the West, the Washington Huskies. Take a look at the conference standings. This is the race. Washington State has beaten Arizona twice, but they're a half game back. Still hope alive for the Cougs to win the Pac-12 regular season crown and get the 1 seed in Vegas next week. Take a look at our starting lineups powered by Ram trucks, built to serve. The conference's leading scorer, Keon Brooks Jr. in the middle in purple. Surrounded by a change, Koren Johnson, maybe the sixth man of the year in the Pac-12, and Wilhelm Breitenbach starting tonight for Washington. For the Cougs at the bottom, Miles Rice, probably the Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, and Isaac Jones is the team MVP. Dan Dickow, my broadcast partner tonight. Dan, it's hard to picture it getting bigger than this for the Apple Cup.
This is an unbelievable setting here at Beasley Coliseum. Crimson and Gray have absolutely showed out, waiting, hoping that their Cougs will win the first title in basketball for Pac-8, Pac-10, or Pac-12.
There is Mike Hopkins, his team trying to get hot before what many anticipate to be a wide open conference tournament next week. He's done it before, and he's trying to get his team in the right mind frame. Kyle Smith, 7-2 in the Apple Cup. Asked him today in his 14th season as a head coach if this is the biggest game he's ever coached, and he said yes.
Yeah, Kyle is one of the best in the business at being honest and telling you exactly what he feels about his emotions as well as his team.
One of the oldest rivalries in Division I basketball. The first meeting this year went into overtime. Washington State won it by 3. And the much anticipated meeting is underway. The Cougs with the ball, a team that not many expected to be in this position here at this time of the season.
Well, but many times the talent might be looked at as one thing from outsiders, but if the parts fit together, you can do something special. That's what they've done here in Pullman this year.
Miles Rice, too strong. One thing Kyle Smith really emphasized, we have to start fast. They've been a slow starting team. Maybe too much juice for Miles Rice there.
Yeah, last 2 games, home wins against USC and UCLA. Down double digits early, able to claw back and get wins in both of those, but they do need a good start here tonight.
There's Breitenbach with the bucket, getting a rare start in place of Braxton Mia. Xavier Wheeler also not starting for the Huskies.
Being senior night, a lot of emotion obviously running through Washington State players as well as fans. They do need to get off to that good start as we talked about. Look for them to go inside out. They're not a 3-point heavy team.
Miles Rice, the redshirt freshman. Now here's Isaac Jones, definitely a candidate for player of the year in the league, and that rattles out. Huskies like to go fast.
Yeah, that's their strength. You get the ball in the open court with Koren Johnson or Xavier Wheeler, who is one of the best assist men in the country.
Johnson coming off a 21-point performance against SC, but he can't connect on that 3, and a foul on Washington's Paul Mulcahy, his first and the first of the game.
Well, Koren Johnson gets the start in place of Xavier Wheeler tonight. The Seattle product, his 4th start of the season. He's played really well over the last 6 games, averaged 18 points per game.
Here's Andre Yakimovsky, got a big ovation before the game, the senior. This is the 295th most experienced team in the nation, according to Ken Pom. But Yakimovsky, he's the veteran, and he gets the Cougs on the board.
He's been just a calming presence on the court for his younger Coug teammates throughout this season.
He knocks that out of bounds off of Breitenbach.
You can play inside out in many ways. Throw it into the post or dribble drive action. Defense turns their head. Moses Wood loses sight of Yakimovsky for a second. Back cut, nice delivery, finish at the rim.
Yakimovsky's been dealing with a right shoulder issue, and he's shaking out and holding that arm right now as he gets back on offense. Ruben Chinyelu. Rice airballed a 3-pointer. And he's off the mark on his second attempt as Chinyelu goes crashing to the floor, fouled by Breitenbach.
Coach Hopkins, excuse me. Coach Hopkins not happy about that call. Breitenbach tried to block out, a little off balance. Coach Hopkins felt there was a similar bad call on the glass on Mulcahy a possession or two ago.
20 on the shot clock for Rice. Into Chinyelu as he goes crashing to the floor. And now the Huskies want to run. Mulcahy all the way in, but he can't finish. This is Jalen Wells.
He has been the difference maker for them as soon as they came back off of a little bit of a Christmas break. 17 of 19 games in the Pac-12. He's been in double figures. He's been really good as of late. 27 in the win against UCLA.
Here's Moses Wood, a sharpshooter who can't connect. You know, the rebounding was such an advantage for Washington in the first meeting, and their Breitenbach cleans it up for a putback. They really struggled on the offensive glass, the Huskies. And we've got an offensive foul against Chinyelu, his first.
First few possessions, Chinyelu and Breitenbach have been extremely physical on the glass, setting screens. That time, Breitenbach stands up Chinyelu in transition when Chinyelu is trying to establish post possession, which is what you're taught, but Chinyelu tried to run right through the chest. Can't do that in front of the official.
The freshman Isaiah Watts has checked into the game, guarding on Johnson, who can't hit. And now here's Rice. Wells from deep, and he missed it all. Do you think the emotion of this night has gotten to the Cougs?
Well, it has for sure. Second air ball from beyond the arc for Washington State. First was Rice, that time Wells. He's got the ability to knock it down from deep, that's for sure. But that one, about 7-8 feet behind the stripe.
Keon Brooks, a rare touch here in the first 4 minutes. The leading scorer in the Pac-12.
That is a pro move right there from Keon Brooks. Washington has done such a good job over the course of the year of getting him isolation opportunities, whether it's on the low block or at the elbow. If you're not going to send a double, he's going to have plenty of time to go to work.
Yakumovsky off the mark, and the Cougs have started cold. Well, a lot of emotion in the building tonight, and it feels like everybody's feeling it so far.
Off to a good start in regards to players making plays and competing. Jalen Wells on the baseline with the teardrop, not to be outdone. Keon Brooks, Pac-12's leading scorer, gets it done.
Time for the player to watch, sponsored by Hilton. Hilton for the stay. Who you got, Dan?
Jalen Wells, 19 points in the first matchup between these two teams, but the impact that he's made over the last month or so continues to grow. 27 points in the home win against UCLA, 10 of 10 from the free throw line. He's what you would call a 3-level scorer. He can get hot in a hurry, and stay hot.
He said after the game when he scored 27 against UCLA 5 days ago, I feel invincible at home, which explains why he took a 27-foot three earlier.
Well, when you get it going the way he has a chance to, a coach like Kyle Smith will let you take a bad one occasionally.
Kamani Winsu, the tall guard off the bench, working in on Wood, but he can't get it to drop.
Good defense there from Moses Wood.
Xavier Wheeler, normally the starter, didn't get the start tonight. He's got the ball right now. One of the best assisters in the nation. Here's Brooks, who gets denied. Isaac Jones with the swat.
Tremendous reaction from the weak side by Isaac Jones.
Yakumovsky with a rainmaker, and it didn't go down. 3-on-3 for Wheeler, and he finds Brooks for the finish.
That's where I think Washington is at their best, is when they get out and push in transition. Wheeler maybe the quickest in the country, going from one end of the floor to the other, making the defense pay for not being alive and awake. Finding Keon Brooks that time for the finish over the top.
Into Jones, difficult shot, and Breidenbach there for the rebound. So still no Braxton Mia in this game for the Huskies. Washington on a 6-0 run. Here's Wood.
See the impact Wheeler's had. Push in transition, finds Brooks. That time collapsed the defense because defense has to recognize the dribble penetration, finds an open Moses Wood, who's a sniper beyond the arc.
Huskies came ready to try and ruin a rival's night. Another offensive foul. This is on Winsu.
Get another look at the aggressive attacking nature of Xavier Wheeler. Gets to the rim, creates attention from the defense for Brooks' opportunity, and then you collapse the defense and you have shooters like Moses Wood. Find them on time, on target. Shooters like Wood will do the rest.
You think the Huskies take some pleasure in trying to ruin their rivals' chances at a regular season crown?
Oh, without a doubt. And the thing about this Husky team is they're close. They've lost a number of extremely tight ball games, including the home loss to the Huskies in overtime earlier this year. You look at Oregon a couple times within 5 points there. The loss to Cal down the stretch of the game. The season could be a lot different for the Huskies with a couple of those going a different direction.
Here's Oscar Clough into the game, and his first bucket, the Australian, from the Washington native Isaiah Watts on the assist, the young man who grew up near Seattle. Whoa, Wheeler, wow. I guess coming off the bench didn't bother him too much, or it bothered him a lot.
A little bit of motivation to push the pace.
Washington State just 3 of 12 shooting here, so they're not getting off to the fast start that Kyle Smith urged them today to lock in 4.
UW goes to a zone. They've played mostly zone when Hopkins took over 7 years ago, as Isaiah Watts knocks down the first 3 of the night for Washington State. But over the course of this year, the Huskies have gone to mostly man-to-man.
Keon Brooks averages 20 a game, bothered by the help defense there, and Winsu tracks it down. And here comes Corin Johnson. The Huskies don't stop moving, and Brooks has 6 points.
I tell you what, Keon Brooks, he was a nice piece last year, but going from Kentucky to UW, sometimes you have to find your game again. He has absolutely found it this year. He's been dominant at times. He's more efficient. And if UW's record was a little bit better, he would absolutely be in conversation for Player of the Year.
No doubt. Caleb Love. You know, you look at Isaac Jones, and you talk to the coaches, they think he's a Player of the Year candidate. The stats don't quite match up with it just because he does so much. 2 on the shot clock. Clough doesn't know it. And it is a shot clock violation. Good defensive stand there by Washington. The Huskies have been looking for defense this season all year long. They found it. Xavier Wheeler doing his thing. And Washington came to ruin a rival's night here in Pullman. They've said the last couple of days, 2 of the most beautiful days in Pullman of the year. Isaiah Watts, a Seattle native, but he's got a home here on the Palouse.
Well, that's a beautiful result for he and his dad, Donald, who played at the University of Washington. I was actually teammates with him for 2 years. And the first time I saw him at a game this year down here in Pullman, he was wearing a Washington State sweatshirt, similar as to tonight. And I said, Donald, I never thought, even though your son's playing at Wazoo, you would wear one. He said, well, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. But he has been entrenched in the Seattle basketball community, as his father, Isaiah's grandfather, Slick Watts, has been. It's great to see him supporting his son, having success down the stretch of the season.
Great to see him here. There's a big article today. He suffered a stroke back in October. He's worked his way back to health and able to make the trips, not only to watch, but also to help his son work on his game. Anthony Holland, the three-point sharpshooter who rarely takes twos, off the bench for that miss. The Cougs still trying to settle in on offense, Dan, and maybe Watts can help him do that. Here he is.
Well, the Cougs a year ago shot a lot of threes. 40% of their shots came from beyond the arc last year. This year only about a quarter, but early in this game they've been three-point dependent. 1 of 6 to start.
Jones, the first basket of the game for the man many call the team MVP.
He's such a dynamic low post and mid post scorer. He's got a lot of different release points on his jump hook. He's got great footwork and touch, as well as great length.
And he's another Cougar from just near the Seattle area. This is where Washington State wants the Huskies, right in the half court. 3 on the shot clock. Wheeler. And Jones skies for the board, one of the leading rebounders in the league.
Great defensive possession there for Washington State. Connected, and then don't foul with the shot clock winding down.
Here's Watts. This crowd's just itching to get off.
Look at that
Wheeler,
speed.
all the way in, but Clough bothered the shot. To your point a moment ago, this is a team that's gone to almost 60% two-point attempts after being three-point bombers last year. There's Clough, the junior, with the basket. But they will play fast at times if they need to. They can go small. They've got a lot of length on this Washington State team. Watts with the steal. And the freshman with the dunk. That's the moment this crowd's been waiting for.
Terrific anticipation in the passing lanes, just like his old man. Get the deflection, chase down the loose ball, finish over the top. Shades of Donald Watts.
And Washington takes a timeout. You can just feel how different it is with the Huskies in the half court offensively.
Completely agree. Washington wants to get out in transition and create opportunities, but on the flip side, Washington State, one of the best, not just in the conference, but in the country, of not allowing you to get transition buckets, making you play in the half court.
Watts took a post-grad year in Connecticut last season, and he's come in to a team with youth around him. Miles Rice, the redshirt freshman who's been the 7-time Pac-12 freshman of the week. Ruben Chinyelu, who starts for this team, already set a freshman record for blocks, and yet here they find themselves in the biggest games of March in their young careers. Corin Johnson out of the timeout. Braxton Mia, the big man, makes his first appearance for the Huskies. He can't rip that board, and here comes Miles Rice. Jones, what a quick spin.
Was that footwork again, and then a unique release point on that jump hook. The transfer from Idaho, about 8-9 miles just east.
Watts slowing down to throw it down. A 10-0 Cougar run. Wheeler. Holland, they need that, and it's off the mark. Kyle Smith said today he thinks it gets loud in here because of all the concrete in Beasley. He says a lot of concrete in this building.
Well, there's a lot of fans in this building tonight. It's taken a few years to build under Kyle Smith, but they want to cheer and support a winner just like they've done in football over the years. They've got one this year.
Yakumovsky maybe just dealing with that shoulder. His shot's just a little bit off. And even as he deals with the injury, you see him shaking his head. Kyle Smith just emphasized he does so much for this team that even if his offense is suffering a little bit, his minutes will not go down.
Well, that's part of, college basketball these days with the transfer portal. Yes, teams have more experience, but not all the time does that experience mean understanding of what the head coach wants within the program. Yakumovsky, having been here for 4 years, has a complete understanding of what Kyle Smith and staff want.
Wheeler. 6 on the shot clock. He shoves Watts to the ground and finds Breidenbach to break that 10-0 Cougar run.
Terrific patience from Wheeler as shot clock's winding down. Could have easily shot a floater, instead finds Breidenbach.
Jones gets fouled, and he'll go to the free throw line. Second foul on Breidenbach for the Huskies. Washington trying to set a program record for conference wins and stay in the regular season championship race. And they've got the 2-point lead. Next week, the best and brightest from the conference battle at the Pac-12 tournament. Live from Las Vegas. Coverage starts Thursday, March 14th, exclusively on Fox and FS1, and streaming live on the Fox Sports app. This is what the bracket would look like if it started today. Arizona, the 1 seed, the Cougs, the 2, with Colorado and Oregon also getting byes in the first round. USC, they're one of the hottest teams in the league. They're playing good basketball. They're an 11 seed right now.
This league, other than Washington State and Arizona distancing themselves, there's not a lot of separation between 3 through 12. Colorado has had glimpses. USC, you're talking about, has played well as of late. UCLA had a nice run middle of the Pac-12 season. They've faded a little bit. It's going to be an interesting tournament, that's for sure.
And the rumor is that Casey Jacobson will be out past midnight in Las Vegas.
Casey Jacobson, teammates for a short stretch in the NBA together. The sharpshooter from Stanford.
The championship game in the Pac will be on Fox a week from Saturday. Here's Mulcahy, who just picked up his second foul before that timeout, trying to get in on Yakumovsky, and he gets bothered into a turnover.
Just great defense there, not just Yakumovsky, but the entire Washington State team. Yakumovsky takes on the initial assignment of slowing down the back down, not giving an angle, but for the rest of the Cougars to understand, if you go to double and help, that's what Mulcahy wants. He wants to be able to find shooters in that situation.
Washington State 1 of 9 from 3 so far in this game, but yet they have the lead with under 7 to go here in the first half. Miles Rice yet to score, and now he's 0 of 3 from the field, but Chinyelu rips the board and gets a second possession. And Rice forces the issue and draws the foul. It's the second on Breidenbach.
My only guess is he was inside the restricted area, because it looked as if Breidenbach was there. Get another look at it. Oh, it looked as if he was out on that replay. Interesting.
So Washington State benefits. Miles Rice trying to get the offense going. He averages almost 16 a game. He's the leading scorer. Clough will check in for Chinyelu. But the one thing that I love about Rice is that even, and they say this about the team, nobody forces the issue. They've got enough guys that can score.
Well, I think the big turning point for Washington State early in this season was Jalen Wells becoming comfortable. Division II All-American in Sonoma State. Took him a little bit of time. He had some injuries as well, but every good team typically has 3 threats on the offensive end of the floor.
And a foul against Washington. It's on Moses Wood. That's his first foul and the 5th team.
Good call from the official. Moses Wood, a little bit of a push off down near the hip is okay, but a lot of push off up around the shoulder going to get called every time.
Isaac Jones gets doubled, as he so often does. Nice move by Rice, and he still can't hit, but another offensive rebound. Yakumovsky struggled from outside, and he still can't get it to go.
The Cougars now 1 of 10 from the three-point line.
But Rice steals the ball away, and then it goes out of bounds off of Wood. And so the Cougars will get the ball back underneath the hoop.
Miles Rice struggling 0 of 5 from the field, but you got to respect and enjoy the passion that he's playing with. Hangs around, reads the outlet pass, comes up with a steal. Can't convert, but the extra effort with the loose ball on the glass, able to knock it off Wood.
And with that steal, he ties a freshman record at Washington State with his 47th steal of the year. Now Koren Johnson commits his first foul and the 6th team foul for the Huskies.
A little bit of jawing going back and forth, which is what you would expect in a rivalry game. That time, Koren Johnson and Isaac Jones having some words for each other. Wouldn't expect anything less between these two schools.
Rivalry goes all the way back to 1910. They played their first game so long ago that in that game, Dan, this is true, they played by the rules in which nobody could dribble.
He told me that pregame. I couldn't believe it. I fashioned myself as a lover of the game of basketball history, but I had no idea back then at 1910 they still were playing where you couldn't dribble.
Isaac Jones just was jawing with Johnson. Now he keeps talking because he gets a big bucket. Largest lead of the game for Washington State. 5 minutes to go here in the first. Brooks fouled by Miles Rice, his first and the 3rd team foul.
He puts so much pressure on the defense, does Brooks. Gets so many isolations up top on the elbow. That time Rice gets caught in a switch. He's got the quickness advantage, but the foul comes when he stands him up, then he tries to swipe at it. A lot of times if you keep the offensive player in front of you and you make them shoot a jump shot over a contested hand, you've done your job. Make them make a difficult one.
Keon Brooks had 35 points in the first meeting. And in that game, Dan, he drew 9 fouls the first time against Washington State. So they didn't have the answer then. The question as this game goes on, will they find the answer tonight?
And he had 35, as we've talked about, but he did a tremendous job, as mentioned, of putting foul pressure on the opponent.
Here's Watts with an early 7. Jones tried to beat the double. It just came so quick. Seven on the shot clock. Yakumovsky, the long 2. And it's still off, but another rebound on the offensive glass for Clough. He's got 6 points.
Well, Washington really had a great defensive possession there, but it can't be considered a truly great possession if you don't finish it with a rebound. Clough is able to corral it and finish off the offensive glass.
Johnson finds Breidenbach, who forces it in.
There's the speed and quickness of Johnson breaking the defense down.
8 offensive rebounds for Washington State so far in this first half.
That's an area they struggled in the first matchup, did the Huskies, keeping the Cougars off the offensive glass. 15 in the first matchup in Seattle. Part of it, though, is Washington State has struggled to shoot the ball this evening, and they've understood it, so they've crashed the glass.
Xavier Wheeler forces the turnover, and the Huskies able to get a defensive stop. 3:43 to go here in the first half. The unheralded big men making an impact here in the 299th playing of the Apple Cup. All right, Rob, looking forward to it. 3:43 remaining here in the first. with Washington State leading by 6. You take a look at Kyle Smith's resume. This is a guy who has not been to the NCAA tournament as a head coach before, but consider this. He's got a career record of over 500 in conference play. He's really made immediate impacts everywhere he's been, Columbia, San Francisco, and what a turnaround here at Washington State, taking him to the NIT back-to-back years. And this year, Dan, where does he fit in for you in the conversation for National Coach of the Year?
Well, he's absolutely in the conversation for Coach of the Year. I think that's a short list in my eyes right now. I think Danny Sprinkle at Utah State needs to be in that conversation. I also think another former Washington State head coach down at Houston right now, Kelvin Sampson, they go from the American to the Big 12. People thought they might take a step back. No, no, no. Ranked #1 in the country are the Houston Cougars under Kelvin Sampson.
So Washington, who at one point really controlled this game early, now trying to find their way back after the Cougs started cold offensively. They've dominated the offensive rebounding, and despite the fact they've only made 1 3-pointer, have controlled the tempo of this game. Here's Wells with a smooth jumper from 2.
First time he's got a truly clean look. Forced a couple threes, was able to finish one on the interior, but that time shows you just a little bit of his mid-range game, the terrific footwork, the elevation.
He's been working with Donald Watts, who we showed you earlier, Isaiah's father, on the jumper, and it has paid off. Tough shot for Johnson, and Jones blocked it. Boy, he is long.
He is long. Like that cartoon character, Inspector Gadget, his arms just keep going and going.
Here's Wells again.
This is where he's difficult for smaller guards. He can back you down. Breitenbach with UW has to bring a double.
And then gets in front of Jones and makes that a difficult shot. But another offensive rebound, and Jones puts it in, plus the foul.
Well, we talked a lot about the foul pressure Keon Brooks puts on the opposing defense. Isaac Jones does it as well. Goes straight through the chest of Breitenbach on the first, doesn't get the call or make, but stays with it. Breitenbach out of position on the second chance opportunity. Jones heads to the line for a chance at a 3-point play.
And now Breitenbach's running out of cushion too. That's his 3rd foul. And so Braxton Mia will come into the game for him. Mia's been dealing with a bad ankle. He's got his right hand, his thumb taped.
Well, it also has to be said for UW. You know, Frank Kepnong has missed the majority of this season with injury. He's a difference maker, especially on the offensive end of the floor. When UW beat Gonzaga in Seattle this year, when Gonzaga was ranked 7th in the country, Kepnong was the difference. 14 points, 5 block shots, can rebound out of his area. They have really missed him on the defensive end.
For the 2nd year in a row. Under 2 minutes now in the first. Johnson into Rice, and he draws the foul for Miles Rice. That's number 2. Just the 4th team foul on the Cougs.
Cougars, in years past, they've been a man-to-man team, occasionally sprinkle in a 1-3-1 zone. This year, when they've had some injuries, in particular the point guard position, Dylan Darling, Joseph Yesufu, both out for the season. They've got limited bench, so they went to a 2-3 matchup zone. They've used it extensively at times. That many times limits the times that you can be put in foul problem situations.
Johnson, a 71% free throw shooter, makes both. As Washington tries to keep contact here before the half. In front of the biggest crowd of the year. Over 10,000 here. Biggest crowd probably in about 4 years here at Beasley Coliseum since the Klay Thompson jersey retirement back in January of 2020. Jones away from the double. Clough battling for it, but Wood takes it away. Here comes Wheeler. Johnson with the swish.
Johnson knocks it down, but credit goes to Wheeler. He gets that ball from one end of the floor to the other, and then he burst of speed into the paint, collapsing the defense, find the open shooters. That time, Corin Johnson.
Corin Johnson hit 4 threes in Washington's loss to USC on Saturday. And he's got 5 straight points for Washington to make it a 5-point game. It was Washington State that took that timeout. Big rest for these two teams before Vegas as well. This is the only game of the week in the rivalry matchup, and they will have Saturday off. Question for the Cougs, will they be the 1 seed or will they be the 2 seed?
They pretty much have it locked up knowing it's the 1 or the 2. UW is very interesting. They could, with help from opposing teams losing, they could go up to the 5 seed. Otherwise, they could also drop all the way to the 11.
The steal from Brooks, and it's now a 3-point game. The pressure works. And that gets knocked out of bounds. I'm sorry, Dan. Could you say that again? From the 5 to the 11 seed?
They could be anywhere from the 5 seed if they win tonight and get help from everyone else above them. Sure. They could slide to the 5. Or if they lose tonight and everyone else that they need to lose wins, they could drop all the way to the 11. It shows you the parity in the league this year.
Yeah, I think that paints the picture as well as anything about the Pac-12 this season. Ball comes into Isaac Jones, and Washington State beats the pressure.
Good substitution there for Kyle Smith to get Miles Rice back in. 1.5 left. You need your point guard in.
Yakumovsky goes hard to the floor. He thought he was fouled, and here comes Xavier Wheeler again. Wood, a sharpshooter, nails it from the corner. And the Huskies have come all the way back with a 10-0 run to tie the game.
10-0 run, back-to-back 3-pointers. Terrific response from the Huskies.
Here's Rice. Watts had a good first half, misses everything. For a home team in a big game, they've had 5 air balls tonight.
He beat me to it. 5 air balls. I don't know if I can remember the last time I've seen that. Typically, they are a good 3-point shooting team. They don't rely on it like they did a season ago.
Anthony Holland, a very good 3-point shooter, comes in as Washington goes small for this last possession.
If you're Washington State, you've got 2 fouls to use if you want to give it. You don't see it a lot in the college game, but I wouldn't be surprised here if they use 1.
Washington State led by as many as 10. Wheeler, tough shot, and he banks it in, and Washington takes a big punch from the Cougs, and you look up and they're up by 2 here at the break.
And that's why you use the foul that you have to give. You could have fouled with about 4 seconds on the shot clock. That would have not allowed Xavier Wheeler to continue that possession at the rim with the finish over the top. What a response from the Huskies to end the half.
Washington State trying to keep their hopes of winning the league alive, but their rivals have come in ready to try and ruin the party. Coming up next, we send you to the half with Rob Stone and Casey Jacobson. Just about ready for the second half here in Pullman, with Washington leading the 18th ranked Cougs by 2. This is the 299th Apple Cup, and it's living up to the hype. Washington State feels like they got to win this game to still have a chance of winning the Pac-12 regular season. Guy Haberman, Dan Dickow, this has been a great game.
It's been a terrific game. It's been a defensive battle on both ends of the floor. Neither team has shot it particularly well until the Huskies finished on a 12-0 run where Xavier Wheeler kind of spearheaded the finish to that first half.
Just 1 3-pointer made in 12 attempts for Washington State in the first. And we mentioned, you see the bottom there in yellow, 12-0 run for the Huskies. That answered in part a 10-0 run from the Cougars. Keon Brooks, the Pac-12's leading scorer, he averages 21. He's got 9. Isaac Jones has 13 points to lead the Cougs in the first half.
Interesting adjustment for the Huskies. Paul Mulcahy not out here to start the second half. It'll be Wheeler and Corin Johnson, a two-headed monster at the point guard.
And the big man, Wilhelm Breidenbach, starts the second half, Dan, with his 3 fouls. He does have 8 points. They go right to Brooks.
That's the look. If they can get him that consistently, they will live with that for sure. 9 points in that first half. Had 35 in the first meeting between these two teams. Difficult cover for anybody in the Pac-12.
Miles Rice, who did not make a field goal in the first half. He's the leading scorer for Washington State. He's got the ball here wearing 2 in red. 4 on the shot clock. Yakimovsky forces his way in, and Clough cleans it up. He's got 8 points and 4 boards.
Yakimovsky definitely is struggling with that right shoulder. Could have shot the 3 with the shot clock winding down. Instead puts it on the deck. Couldn't convert, but Clough there to clean up the mess.
Clough has not played much in the last 2 games, but he's getting a lot of big minutes here tonight. Jalen Wells all over Brooks, and he draws the offensive foul. It's the first on Brooks.
Did a good job on the first bump, did Brooks, to create the initial angle, but then on the second bump, a little too much in front of the official. With his length, his ability to elevate over the top, probably didn't need that second bump against the defender Wells.
Braxton Mia, an early sub here in the second half for Washington.
Washington going to their 2-3 matchup zone, something that Hopkins used extensively his first few years after coming over from Syracuse.
And there's Jones. That's the soft spot, and he converts.
You're exactly right. Soft spot of that zone typically is that middle. A flash, find different ways to catch, turn face. Defense doesn't converge. Simple decision. Elevate over the top, such as Jones did there.
The 5th-year senior day today, a Seattle native, and he's the first man into double figures in this game as Corin Johnson answers, and he's got 7 points tonight. A win tonight would be a program record-setting 15th league win for Washington State. Here's Clough. If Washington State wins, they're going to get the ball here. It would be their 16th home win. That would set a program record. By many measures, it would be the best regular season in Washington State basketball history by the numbers, if they could find a way to win it. And it would keep hope alive for the regular season crown, Dan, and maybe a top 16 seed in the NCAA tournament, which really matters because Spokane is hosting the first 2 rounds.
They would get a ton of fans if it were just 75 miles north in Spokane. But I got a question for you. If they win their 15th league game, that would set a record. Who was on their last team that had 14 conference wins? Ooh. It was 1982-83. He's within.
Craig Elo.
Yes, sitting right across the way. What's your basketball knowledge? Your basketball history.
I needed a hint. There's Craig Elo, now part of the radio broadcast team for the Cougs.
Terrific player in college as well as in the NBA. Terrific person.
Well, they had a team with he and a guy named Guy Williams, whose son Noah played for both of these teams, who they felt like, for George Raveling, who they felt like had he not getting hurt, they had a national championship level squad. A program that's never been past the Sweet 16.
With the way they defend, anything's possible in the NCAA tournament because you're going to have scoring droughts, but can you defend? Can you get stops? I think this team is built on that end of the floor to be able to do that.
All over Keon Brooks here with 4 on the shot clock. Wells right in his jersey, and Brooks scores anyway.
That is an NBA level move.
Brooks with 11 points now on 5 of 9 shooting. I mentioned it earlier, 35 in the first meeting between these two, a game that Washington State won in overtime by 3. Isaac Jones brought all the attention, and here comes Corin Johnson.
This what Mia does when they go to that 2-3 zone, he just anchors that paint. It's hard to score over the top of him, and when you get guys with Brooks' length and athleticism flying in from the weak side to contest, it's difficult to score against.
Inside to Clough. Oh, what a spin!
Wow. What a spin is right. It feels the pressure, the defense spins away, the touch with the left.
The big Aussie, the junior college transfer, he's into double figures with 10 points. Wheeler, that was a beauty. And he got popped by Clough, and now here comes Rice. No look. Followed by Jones. And it gets stuck. Ball will stay with the Cougs on the possession arrow.
Terrific start to the second half. Keon Brooks, possible player of the year in the league, shows a bit of his versatility. On the other end for the Cougars, the Australian Oscar Clough, making you think you're going one way, spin back the other.
Pac-12 basketball is powered by Ram trucks, built to serve. Well, how do the Cougs win the Pac-12 regular season? These are the scenarios. They swept Arizona, so if they tie, they would have the head-to-head tiebreaker, share the title, get the 1 seed. So a win and 1 Arizona loss, or Arizona with 2 losses. Washington State wins the title with that scenario. They get a win here tonight, and Arizona loses to both. They have the outright crown. They don't share it. Arizona, they win the Pac-12 championship with a Washington State loss or 2 wins of their own. So even if there's a tie, and even though Washington State has the head-to-head tiebreaker, technically it would be a share of the regular season.
But those 2 wins against Arizona were impressive for Washington State. They held the Wildcats to under 35% field goal shooting in both of those contests. But the one down in Arizona, I think, finally turned the tide for people outside of the Washington State community to believe that Washington State was for real this year.
The foul, by the way, there was on Miles Rice, his 3rd. Here's Brooks.
Jeez.
And he's got 13 points. Back to the point on the regular season crown. I said to Kyle Smith today, oh, isn't it kind of a bummer? You beat Arizona twice head-to-head. You tie him, you have to share the title. And he laughed. He said, no, I'll take it any way I can get it.
Isaac Jones will take the ball against the zone in the middle anytime he can get it himself. And the second time here in the second half, he has gotten a bucket in that mid-post.
Wheeler, back and forth we go. And Washington back in front.
Wheeler, unique player. Lefty, super quick. Obviously, he's short, built like a running back. He sees a gap. He's got the quickness to attack that gap. Defenders will bounce off of him. Ultra aggressive as well.
Second team foul on Braxton Mia. A running back or maybe an option quarterback with the way he passes the ball.
Yeah, good point. I don't have much of a football background, so I struggle throwing different football analogies out there.
Wells with the 3.
He needed that one. 0 of 2 from beyond the arc in the first half. Both of them were air balls. That 3 brings this crowd to life.
The first meeting had 24 lead changes. Johnson powers inside and draws the foul.
Can't get lost in that zone or in confusion whether you're doubling or not. A turn of the head allows Wells just the amount of space and time he needed.
Foul was on Isaiah Watts, his first. Warren Johnson, a good free throw shooter, got the start tonight. Hasn't shot it well from the field, but he's got 8 points. Now Kamani Winsou will check into the game. The 6'6" guard from France. run the point for the Cougs. Clough. There's Winsu cutting, and he finishes, plus the foul.
Terrific pass from Clough. Wood didn't fully commit to the double team, couldn't get back to Winsu on the cut, but we get another look at this. Threads the needle on that pass to Winsu. That's one of the things that I think is overlooked with this Washington State team. Neither Clough nor Chinyelu are necessarily great scorers, but they bring different attributes to the table that all good teams need. Clough, terrific passer. Chinyelu, terrific shot blocker. So they can play offensive or defensive with that 5 position.
Well, Washington State, you know, so many new pieces this year. Kyle Smith said this week they had a chance to add a really talented player in September who he didn't name through the portal, but he just didn't want to mess with the chemistry of this team, didn't do it, and he's been rewarded. Watts passes up the 3 for the step back swish. Crowd on its feet. Beasley is rocking. And Johnson quiets things down with the foul, and he'll go to the line. Foul's on Clough, that's his first. I think back to the first half after it looked like Washington State was starting to pull away. It was Johnson that scored 5 quick points and settled things down. Just a sophomore Seattle native.
He's talented enough to be a starter in the Pac-12. He just has found a nice niche as the 6th man this year for the Huskies. Sometimes it fits a player's personality to be able to sit on the bench and get a feel for the game before you come in and see how you can best impact the game positively for your team.
He leads all Pac-12 bench players in points, in assists, in steals, and field goal percentage. A rare start for him. So as we say, he's likely the 6th man of the year in this league.
That's something that is important to note. One of the best 6 men in all of college, all of basketball, in particular the NBA. Jamal Crawford is from Seattle, and he's mentored many of the kids that have come through the Seattle basketball scene.
Isaac Jones leading Washington State with 14 points. Here's Watts, another tough shot, and Brooks the board. Wheeler. Wells does a good job. He's defended just about everybody on the floor, it feels like. And he travels, Wheeler does, and turns it over. 9th turnover for the Huskies.
That right there is almost picture-perfect defense in regards to, you might give a little bit of an angle, not giving up on a play, cut the ball handler off, and then be big, wall up. While that occurs, you shut down passing lanes. Terrific defensive possession for the Cougars.
As we tick towards 12 minutes remaining here in regulation. This game had so much pace in the first half, Dan. It settled down a little here in the second. 5 on the shot clock for Winsu. In trouble too, and that gets blocked by Brooks, and a shot clock violation. "12 minutes even left here in the second half. Isaiah Watts, just a freshman, in the midst of a rivalry and a title chase. 12 minutes even to go here in the second half, and Washington State leading Washington by 2. Dan, the Cougs are the best field goal defense in this league. Why?
Well, first off, you have to have great schemes, and you have to have players that understand the schemes and then compete. Jalen Wells fights through a ball screen, battles through a back down, then in the paint, walls up, doesn't give Xavier Wheeler any angles. Tremendous defense in multiple actions there from Jalen Wells.
There you see the opponent points per game, the field goal percentage under 42%, and the blocks averaging 5 a game for Kyle Smith's team. Washington State's led by as many as 10. Washington led at the break.
Washington State back in a 1-3-1 zone. Something they used a lot earlier in the season.
Almost beat it with a dunk. Ball goes out of bounds. We'll check on the shot clock. I think officials getting together. The end of the play is Washington ball. Ball went out of bounds to the Huskies. The clock read 29 seconds on the shot. Now it reads 20. On the reset, it should go to 20. Let's see here.
I'm pretty sure they're looking to see if the dunk attempt hit the rim or if he threw it over the top. That's hard to tell. Yeah, I guess if we get another look at it, you watch to see if the spin of the ball changes. I don't think it hit the rim.
The question is just how much time will there be for Washington? They decided the ball did hit the rim. 20 seconds on the shot. It's probably the difference in a second or maybe 2, because the ball went out of bounds soon thereafter. Tough spot for Corin Johnson here to inbound it from the corner.
A lot of times, especially with 20 seconds on the clock, you're just looking to get the ball in and then get into an offensive set of some kind.
2 Huskies in double figures. It's Brooks and Johnson. Xavier Wheeler into some traffic. Here's the league's leading scorer now. Brooks elevates. Oh, that is pure.
'50th made 3 on the season. He's definitely become more consistent beyond the arc, but he's again best in the elbow area.
And Watts answers. Just the 3rd made 3 of the game for Washington State. Nia fights his way in for the dunk.
A terrific finish, but the find from Johnson with the left through traffic. Impressive.
We're tied for the 8th time tonight. Remember, this game went to overtime, first meeting. Watts cannot get to it, and it's a good thing. Mia knocked it out of bounds. 12 on the shot clock. Take a look back at the Keon Brooks 3. To your point, Dan, he was a sub 30% three-point shooter last year.
He usually gets his threes in pick and pop situations. That time he was the handler in a ball screen. Good read, good execution.
Shot clock low, and it's a turnover. Wheeler flying inside, and he gets the foul. 100 miles an hour for Xavier Wheeler. I don't think there's brakes on that car.
I agree. It's a hard train to stop. Get another look at this great pass from Corin Johnson. Tiny window, snakes it through there. Maya using his length for the finish.
Here's Wheeler, a 64% free throw shooter. His first trip to the line tonight, and he makes the first. You know, for so many great point guards in this league, this is a great point guard matchup. Rice, who just checked in, and Wheeler, neither has scored much so far in this game.
Rice probably will be the freshman of the year in the conference. 0 of 5 up till this point.
And 1 of 2 for Wheeler, and he's got 7 points in a game. Here's Washington the lead. 12 lead changes so far. As Brooks knocked it away, and down to the floor they go. The Huskies have the possession arrow, but they couldn't corral. So here's Watts. Clough, and it's tracked down by Holland. Holland, that's what he's there to do, but he couldn't hit. Jones quickly right into Mia, and one.
Good decision from Rice. Push the pace, see if you can find something. If not, bring it back out. Look for your partner on the block, Isaac Jones, who's been a problem throughout the night. Braxton Mia, if you're gonna foul, you gotta make it count. You can't just bump him on the elbow, allow him to finish and get to the line for three.
It's his third foul, and now both big men for the Huskies. Breidenbach just checked in. Both of them have three. Keon Brooks is short. Miles Rice handling still has not hit a field goal. Until now.
Only a matter of time. Terrific freshman from the Georgia area. Battled some off-the-court health issues early in his career at Washington State. Terrific story to see him back playing so well.
Crowd back up. On its feet here at Beasley. Wheeler somehow gets all the way to the rim.
There is no pause button on Xavier Wheeler. He has one speed, and that is attacking the rim.
Led the SEC in assists twice at Kentucky, one of the two Kentucky transfers. Good friends with Keon Brooks, who came over 2 years ago, and then Wheeler arrived this season. Tough reception there for Clough. He couldn't track down the errant pass from Jones. And it's the 10th turnover for Washington State.
Wheeler does a good job keeping his dribble alive, and then the hard attack to the cup.
You called him a running back? That was
yes.
Looking for the hole.
Washington State back in the 1-3-1.
And it creates the turnover. The long arms of Jones. Jones couldn't finish what was a gorgeous pass, and then can't hit the dunk.
Jones would like both of those two opportunities back. Had either one gone, this crowd would have erupted.
Johnson goes right at Yakimovsky and scores. He's got 13 points.
Great finish for the junior from Seattle. Excuse me, sophomore.
Back into Clough. Working on the 3 fouls of Breidenbach. And him and Yakimovsky just not on the same page.
Miles Rice, only a matter of time before he gets going. A little floater in the lane. Corin Johnson, not to be outdone. High off the glass. We've got a tremendous one here. Don't go anywhere.
7 minutes and 16 seconds remaining in regulation. Washington trying to spoil the night here in the Apple Cup for Washington State. And we're also getting a preview, Dan. If the Huskies are going to make a run next week in Vegas, isn't this the recipe?
Without a doubt. With his improved efficiency and skill level on the offensive end of the floor, Coach Mike Hopkins can put him in so many different places that he has an advantage in. He's a big, good enough pick and pop shooter now that he can do that. He can dive off screen roll actions because he can catch and finish. They're even now putting him not just in isolation situations, but he's the ball handler in pick and roll situations because his decision making has improved so much over the last couple of years.
16 points for Keon Brooks Jr. He averages 20 a night. Washington State needs, in all likelihood, a win tonight to keep their hopes of the Pac-12 regular season crown alive. They need a little help from Arizona. Wood inside to score it from Wheeler. 5th assist of the game for Xavier Wheeler. Quick answer for Wells, who's able to tap out the miss.
Shooters know when the ball's going in or it's not going in. That left his hand. He sprinted towards the rim.
Washington's doing a better job defending the glass than they did early in the game.
Without a doubt.
Koren Johnson misses, and here comes Isaiah Watts. So Rice and Watts, the 2 freshman guards on the floor together with the true freshman big man Chinyelu, who's battling for position underneath right now. Shot clock is winding down for Jalen Wells, who fires, and that was right on line. He back rimmed it. Wells with the defense. He's been challenged. He's been up for it. He's talking right now to Keon Brooks Jr. And Brooks took the challenge and drew the foul. Nose to nose. It's the 2nd foul on Wells.
Wells has been impressive throughout the season. Division II All-American. Took him some time to get comfortable, but when you defend the way he's shown he can tonight, you're going to earn yourself opportunities. He did that early in the year, and then his scoring has come along as soon as Pac-12 play came about.
Don't let anybody tell you that the transfer portal has hurt rivalry. Not in this one, at least. Oh, Brooks! And he's letting them hear it over on the Cougar bench. A 9-0 run. Rice in and out. This place is vacillated between so loud you can't hear and so quiet you can hear a pin drop. Here's Johnson. That's pure. Wow. And Kyle Smith needs a timeout. The Washington Huskies are looking for their first ranked road win in 8 years. And this one would be extra sweet. Keon Brooks Jr. letting them have it right now in the Apple Cup. Well, she came in hopes of a court rush tonight. There's been talk of that buzzing throughout the arena, but the Cougs need to get back in this thing. They trail Arizona by a half game, but this is Washington State's last game of the regular season. They need a win. They need the easiest path is they win and Arizona loses one game. Then they would tie and share the crown. But this is where Washington and Mike Hopkins, this is where they've made their money this year. When they've led with 5 minutes left this season, they're 12-2. And that's the position that Washington is in right now. Up by 8, under 5 remaining.
Expect the ball to be in Miles Rice, Jalen Wells, and Isaac Jones' hands with the shot clock winding down. They have been their 3 guys they've gone to throughout the year.
And Wells draws the foul on Koren Johnson. 2nd on Johnson, 16th foul for the Huskies. Well, Wells is an excellent free throw shooter, but he has not been to the line tonight. He shoots 83%, and he was perfect on Saturday against UCLA when he was 10 of 10. And he makes the first. Wells, the transfer from Sonoma State. And an instant impact for these Cougs. And here comes this crowd again. Washington seemingly had an answer every time. But Clough breaks it up, only to be tapped out by Johnson.
Great recognition on the lob pass there from Clough to come up with the deflection.
Shot clock at 5. Mia can't get it. Here comes Rice. Wells tees up a 3, and it was off as soon as he shot it. He knew it, but Clough is there to clean it up. What a game he's had.
What a game from him is right. 12 points off the bench, 6 of 8 from the field, but he's also played terrific defense in pick and roll situations.
7 boards to go to his 12 points off the bench. Here's Wood. Rice draws the foul on the floor, but that's the 7th team foul against the Huskies. It's on Koren Johnson, his 3rd. 1-and-1 free throws coming. Well, the Pac-12's leading scorer, Keon Brooks Jr., has been hot. He's got 19. Koren Johnson, the Seattle native, he's got 15. And the Huskies are up by 4. All right, Rob, what do you think, Dan? Could USC mix things up next week in Vegas? Isaiah Collier's getting good.
Absolutely. It took some time for him to get comfortable with the college game. You obviously saw his talent coming into the college game from high school, but many times it takes the understanding of spacing, of what your coach really wants out of you, getting used to the physicality and speed. He's looked tremendous as of late. So they could be a team that kind of throws a wrench in some other teams' plans.
3 minutes and 32 seconds remaining here in regulation. 1-and-1 free throws for Miles Rice, and he makes the first. Washington State in the bonus. Rice, an 81% free throw shooter. You can see there he hasn't shot it well from the floor, but he does have 5 assists. And he gets 1 of 2.
Be interesting if Washington State goes man or drops back into 1-3-1 zone, which has been fairly successful at times tonight. And they go man.
Yakumovsky with Brooks. Doubled. And it's tapped in. Moses Wood with the follow.
Well, Brooks creates so much attention that Jones didn't block out Wood, who comes up with the offensive putback.
Dan, Wood almost has a double-double tonight. 10 points, 8 boards. Isaac Jones!
Wow. Great pass in the pick and roll. Even better finish from Jones.
Is this coming down to the last possession?
You get that feeling. I know this crowd definitely wants it to come to this last possession or two in the Cougs' favor.
Brooks, defenders all around, and he scores anyway. And Mike Hopkins takes the timeout with Washington up by 5.
Sometimes there's nothing you can do with a player of Brooks' caliber, but another look at that pick and roll pocket pass. Rice to Jones. But back to Brooks. He has been really good throughout the season. Only 1 game in double figures. That 1 game with 9 points. Just elevating over the top. That's good defense from Wells, too. Push the catch out. Make him score over the top. Not much more you can do there.
2 timeouts left for Washington. 2 timeouts left for Washington State. 21-9 for Keon Brooks. This is what he does every night. Kyle Smith telling his team today, his message to them at their shoot around: enjoy the moment, don't be overwhelmed by it, try to make a memory tonight. Washington came trying to spoil the party.
Well, both teams have had runs that you weren't expecting. Does Washington State have one last run in them over the final 2.5 minutes?
Miles Rice has been looking for a shot all night. Didn't pull the trigger there.
Well, Wheeler's going under that pick and roll. You got to be comfortable and confident and let it fly behind the screen.
Jones gets fouled. Why not just do that every possession?
He's put a lot of pressure in return on the Washington Husky defense. Brooks is a good defender, but at the same time, he expends so much on the offensive end of the floor that you don't want to get him in foul trouble. Jones has done that to many opponents throughout this season with a variety of low post moves that he has.
Braxton Mia committed his 4th foul. Got a little bit of blood, I think, on his elbow there, so he's getting.
So the foul was on Mia coming over as opposed to Brooks.
So Breidenbach comes in for Mia, who's trying to rub the blood off the jersey. Jones, 2 free throws for him, 72% this year, and he misses the first. He's now 2 of 7 at the line tonight.
Well, if you look at Washington State, Miles Rice, leading scorer of the season, 1 of 7 from the field. Yakimovsky, granted he's battling a little bit of a shoulder injury, 1 of 8.
2 of 8 at the line for Jones, a 72% free throw shooter. Could have made it a 1-possession game. Under 2 minutes. Xavier Wheeler off the bench for Washington today, and he turns it over. It's Rice all the way to the cup, denied by Brooks. A foul is called. Rice wants the basket. Was it coming off the backboard? The officials say no. Basket doesn't count, or at least no goaltending. The block was legit. There's the foul. Is this block good? Absolutely. He pinned it.
You can't necessarily see for certainty with that angle. This, you should see it. Wow, that was close, but credit Brooks for not giving up on the play, getting back in transition for the chase down block. That being said, Rice will be at the line for 2.
Foul was on Corin Johnson, and Washington State is just missing free throws right now.
7 of 15, excuse me, 7 of 16 on the evening.
1 of 2.
You're not in territory of needing to foul just yet if you're Washington State. Got to get a defensive stand, but must finish it with a rebound. Too many times a good defensive possession is not finished in this situation.
Corin Johnson. Now here's Wood. Johnson elevates, and he connects. A clutch 3 for the Seattle native. 7-point game. And things feel a little desperate now for the Cougs. And Kyle Smith calls a timeout. What a great timeout there. Fortuitous just before a turnover. Wow. Here's Johnson's 3.
You've seen growth in Johnson's game over the second half of Pac-12 play. Maybe the biggest shot of his young career. Big-time corner 3 in front of his bench. His teammates like it, helping him get back in defensive transition.
Washington trying to snap a 3-game losing streak here in the rivalry.
When you talk about how well Johnson's played the last 6 games, 18 points per game, 30 against Stanford, 6 of 10 from the 3-point line. This has got to feel even better for him simply for the fact that only played 3 minutes in the first matchup between these 2 teams and was scoreless.
Washington State won that meeting in overtime. Down by 7. And they've been bad from 3-point range tonight, too, Dan. They only have 3 made threes on 20 attempts.
2 of those are from the freshman, Isaiah Watts.
Here's Rice. Long 2. And Brooks battles for that rebound, and it's tracked down.
Now you got to start thinking about going for a steal. If you don't get it, foul.
That's the man Washington wants to have it. Keon Brooks gets fouled with 50.2. Brooks has only taken 2 free throws in this game. He made 1. And that's the 16th foul on Washington State. So 1 more to get to the free throw line and in the bonus.
And again, in this situation, quickly go for a first steal. If you don't get it, then I believe you foul. Washington State letting time go by, going for a trap first, I guess.
And now Watts fouls Koren Johnson, who's been perfect at the line tonight. And he's got a 1-on-1 opportunity coming.
That's his second personal. 17 foul to go. Koren Johnson.
It's been a long time since the Huskies have pulled off a road-ranked win. December 2017 at Kansas. Koren Johnson, he's been ready for this moment from the opening tip, hasn't he? He got the start, and he played like he belongs in the starting lineup.
He's been really good. And the way this Husky team has kind of battled adversity throughout the night makes you think, if you're a Husky fan, get down to Vegas, see what they can do.
Johnson doing it all. Wow. That might be the nail. Wells has to heave. Jones follows with the dunk. 9-point game, and Kyle Smith will use his last timeout.
Well, crazier things have happened in college basketball this season. Wyoming was down 11, under a minute left on the road at Colorado State, ended up winning the game in overtime. So Washington State's got a chance. Kyle Smith getting them organized. You want to have your ideas together on this baseline out of bounds, where who you want to funnel the ball to, be able to go and foul after gambling. But geez, we get another look at that tip dunk from Isaac Jones. Looks like a young Guy Haberman right there, huh?
Yeah, when the hoop was 3 feet high. He caught it like it was an alley-oop.
Yeah.
How much, if you're Washington State here, is it in your head, Dan, that you're not shooting it well? You're 42% for the game, but you're struggling from 3. You know, ideally you'd say, yeah, stop the clock, go to the free throw line, but right now it looks like they have no confidence at the free throw line. They're under 50% from the stripe.
Sometimes shooting can swell in a positive direction, and at times it can swell in a negative. You're exactly right. They've struggled not just from the three-point line, 3 of 21, but also from the free throw line. But one thing that they have to understand and believe is they've been in difficult situations many times this year. They were down 10 in their last 2 come from behind wins here at home. Now this is a different beast, being down 10 under a minute, but make it interesting. See if you can go for a steal, get a steal. If not, quickly foul on the inbounds.
Xavier Wheeler will use a timeout, and Washington will have 1 left. Well, we talk about how can this Husky team try to make a run next week in Las Vegas. Keon Brooks has the 21. Koren Johnson is the leading scorer tonight in this game with 22.
Well, he's done a really good job throughout the night of balancing scoring and playmaking for others, reading the defense, how they're guarding pick and rolls. And that last play is indicative of him. Opportunistic defensively, comes up with a steal and the finish, as well as probably the dagger 3 in the corner that really kind of sealed the deal tonight for the Huskies.
We talk about the fact that this rivalry goes back to 1910. It's one of the oldest rivalries in college basketball. 299th meeting. Yeah, the rivalry will continue, but not as conference foes. The last meeting between these two as Pac-12 members, and that's added a little drama to it as well. Xavier Wheeler gets it in, and the foul's committed by Isaiah Watts, and Koren Johnson. That's who Washington wants to shoot free throws right now. He's been perfect.
Foul number 12, Isaiah Watts. 3rd personal, 18 foul to lose.
1-and-1 free throws coming for Johnson to try and add to his game-high output.
If you're Washington State, you hope for a miss, but make or miss, you got to get the ball down the floor quickly. I expect them to play out of drag screen pick and rolls with the ball in either Rice or Watts' hands. You're the Huskies. Don't give full head of steam and absolutely don't foul.
First miss of the night. So Wells lets it fly, and that's off the mark. Mia with the rebound, saves it to Wells. Now Watts has to heave, and he connects. 6-point game.
Mistake by Mia there to save the ball.
Brooks is trapped, and he uses Washington's last timeout. 17.1 seconds left.
Scramble for the rebound. Mia looked like he came up with it, but at that point, just fall out of bounds. It's better than saving it and giving a clean look to Watts from beyond the arc. Difficult shot. He's got 15 now on the night. Here are the Cougars. Same emphasis defensively here. Try to funnel the ball to a non-shooter if you can. Go for a steal. If you don't get it, you got to be ready to foul quickly.
No timeouts left for either side, Dan.
This is where both coaches, yes, you're going over what your current situation is on the inbounds. For the Huskies, what you want to run, who you want to get the ball to. For the Cougars, who you want to try to funnel it to. But you're also talking big picture in regards to, because you don't have timeouts left, how you want to play out of free throw situations. Just as the last missed free throw for the Huskies, Washington State wants to get that ball up the floor quickly. Huskies want to talk about not fouling when they're in defensive transition.
So they were looking, that review there was for Brooks and Johnson. That collision there, was there an elbow that would have warranted a flagrant foul? The answer was no. Xavier Wheeler will bring it in here with 17 seconds. Again, no timeouts for either team. The long Winsu all around, and Wells commits the foul that'll send Brooks to the line.
Good no call in that review by the officials.
Well, this night started with so much hope for Washington State. A win, hoping for Arizona to lose one of its final 2 games. That would give Washington State its first ever Pac-12 regular season crown. They've never won the league. And it would give them the 1 seed next week in Vegas as Brooks makes the first and earns a second. They've won 14 conference games for the first time since 1982-83, but the record-setting 15th win looks all but out of reach now. Brooks misses the second. Rice is going to take it all the way and score with 10.7. Wheeler tapped out. What a smart play by Johnson, who then chases down his tap and gets fouled. He is having as good a game as you can have tonight.
This is the awareness, to make the back cut because you're being denied. Understand the ball's thrown over the top and the secondary defenders converging. Great awareness. He'll be at the line for 2.
$23 points for Corin Johnson now. Now here's Rice. Wells. That's it. And Washington with an absolute statement tonight. And they wanted to make it hurt, as you always do in a rivalry game. They did. They spoil their rivals' title hopes.
Credit Keon Brooks and Corin Johnson for going on the road and having enormous performances.
Corin Johnson with 23, Keon Brooks with 22, and Washington comes in to Pullman and beats the 18th ranked Cougs in the 299th Apple Cup. Coming up, we'll send you back to LA. Here's Rob Stone and Casey Jacobson.